Once again, welcome to ITSE1345. This is competency 3. But before we get into some of the items, I'd like to kind of pause and kind of talk about where we're at in this thing. Chapters 1, 2, and 3 spoke to the ability to develop the placeholder mechanism that we were going to process through this mechanism. We talked about the definitions, the good, better, best, and the big, bigger, biggest scenario. And we talked about scalar and some of the other things. Before we get too deep into this thing, I'd like for us to consider that this is a procedural language. A procedural language is where you actually create like a small program, you store it, and you use it. We're doing Oracle 11G PLSQL. But I still need for you guys to understand that there are other products out there in the market that use procedural languages. You know, this goes back to the same scenario as when you learn how to work a car engine. We're familiar with the theory of the combustion engine, and different people make this thing work different ways, but it's still a car engine. When we're talking about procedural languages, we're specifically, in this case, talking about Oracle. But there are other products out there that do the same thing. So yes, we will be using PLSQL Oracle. But I need for you to understand the theory of a lot of the issues we'll be discussing, because the theory will be the same no matter which product you use. And the reason I say that is somewhere about umpteen years ago, we bought Oracle and we were going to use Oracle 100%. But, you know, that became kind of an issue. So we decided to go with third-party products to attach to Oracle. Now, these third-party products were for the forms and for the reports we were going to build. Well, each of these different vendors had their own procedural language construct that was going to attach to Oracle. So there is the Oracle PLSQL, and then there's third-party vendors, other products. So just understand that the procedural construct, the theory, is the same between different vendors. And once again, one guy calls it green, one guy calls it yellow, and one guy calls it blue, but they effectively do the same thing. So understand we're talking about a procedural language. So as we progress through these items, you need to understand the construct of a program you'll create and store. And think about that different brands, different products will do the same thing. That said, we're going to begin with competency 3. Competency 3 talks about developing stored program units. Now, these are 4 critical procedural constructs. Now, the way this thing works is cursor is that construct that's like a pickup, transport, delivery mechanism. The procedures is that process that captures the information as it is brought in. The functions is that mechanism that will test the information that you've brought in. It is a calculator per se, so a function is a calculator. Now, when we talk about a calculator, you have to go beyond just numbers. This calculator concept is also like a logic format or a matching format, so you will be testing items or measuring against items to make things work. So when we talk about a function, yes, it is a calculator process, but it is measuring against something or calculating against something to get a task accomplished. And the package is that process that will warehouse all these mechanisms. Now, remember at the very beginning we had that payroll scenario, and we had the insurance, and we had the FICA, and you had the retirement. Well, consider the fact that in the cursor mechanism, you're going to retrieve data, and then you're going to deposit that data into something that's going to do the work. Well, the function is that calculation that's going to compare items. The procedure, so you would have a procedure for retirement, you would have a procedure for insurance, and you would have a procedure for the FICA. With each of those items, you would have some kind of function to test, to calculate. In the retirement scenario, remember we have 0 to 5 years and 7 to get the retirement rate. So you would bring in the hire date into this function and do some kind of comparative analysis to see where in the retirement structure this employee would be receiving their benefits. So we have that process now. The package would be that item that would capture the procedure for the function, the procedure for the retirement, the procedure for the insurance, and the procedure for the FICA. So the package would encapsulate that. So you have the cursor, which extracts the information. You have the package, you have the procedure, which warehouses it. You have the function that does the calculations, and then you have the package that encompasses all. Now, we're going to get into more depth in those.